Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies and welcome to TopBrass. And let me also welcome my friend from UK, Mr. Neville Gone.
Good morning, CK. It's a beautiful Wednesday here, although we're about to have a thunderstorm, so it should be electrifying. And you've got some electrifying news today, haven't you?
When it comes to thunderstorms, we are in the middle of it. And for last 1 week, it's pouring non-stop and it will continue for next, as per the predictions, next at least 6 to 7 days. So, we are enjoying it.
Absolutely, but you're in a political thunderstorm.
Of course. See, what has happened, Neville, is something which is very specific to India, but I just want to inform you about this before we start discussing, what are the repercussions of this. There is a very famous superstar in India who was just 34-year-old, quite dashing, quite smart, popular among youngsters, multifaceted personality. Is not only a superstar, is a India topper in engineering. So he was a very brainy fellow. He invested with NASA and he bought a land on the moon. He started a lot of scholarship programs for youngsters. He wanted to, apart from being acting, because obviously he's doing acting to make money and he was making a lot of money. He was also investing big time in artificial intelligence and also in virtual reality and stuff like that. He was a very person who had a lot of big dreams. So this is all known because he was very popular on Twitter and social media, working with the masses. He had a mass appeal. 2 months back, we heard that he committed suicide by hanging himself from the ceiling fan.
Oh, I remember it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that well.
So initially, there was a lot of publicization by certain PR, come pseudo-secular, come political people that he was bipolar. And therefore, he was not mentally stable and, he committed suicide and so on. So for a month, everybody believed that. In fact, I did a video along with my lawyer friend about how to prevent a suicide because everybody believed it. When the government of that particular state is talking about, especially the police and very senior people on the police who are investigating are saying that there is no evidence. But it turns out that after almost like a month or 30 or 35 days, the certain other facts started tumbling out. Things like his diary, in which he's talking about his future plans. It turns out the doctor who declared him bipolar was a fake. So a lot of these things started coming out. And for some reason, his body picture was made viral. And then a lot of people started analyzing the body and the ligature mark and what are the injuries and all that. And it turns out that a lot of people, specialists, not only from India, but even outside India, even from United States, non-Indians, they started analyzing these pictures and they started saying, it doesn't look like a suicide at all. The injury mark is not of a hanging, it's of a strangulation. And after that, and a lot of Indian experts, forensic experts who are probably retired or in different police forces across different states started voicing their concern. So ideally, the state government should have ordered a separate inquiry because, as a citizen, I feel that the state government or any government in India is elected by people. So their job is to represent people. And if people themselves are questioning the state government investigation, the police investigation. So what is the responsibility of the state government? They should look like as if they are representing people in the assembly. So they should order for an independent inquiry. So there are ways to do it. There is a centralized agencies. There are not one, there are multiple central agencies in India which can be summoned for conducting a independent inquiry. So this way, state government would look good. Say, and they can always give speeches in multiple platforms. Hey, you didn't believe us? At least believe the central agencies because we called them. But
Yeah.
on the contrary, what happened? They blocked all central agencies. They tried to block the media, and they blocked investigation done by other states into this state as well. And finally, this whole murky business reached the Supreme Court. And today, after 2 months of long legal battle, and why I'm saying that it's a legal battle, it's not people versus the government, it's the governments of two states fighting with each other. Because this person who died belonged to another state,
Okay. Yeah.
and he had a lot of fan following in that state. So the government of that particular state came under a lot of pressure of people. So they actually approached the court, the highest court of India, and now from today, the central agencies have been summoned by the court, and they will do the investigation. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
It is a big.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And a huge deal. All starting from something that clearly someone wanted to cover up. I mean, let's face it, from what you're saying to me, and you're in the know, this is a massive, massive cover up.
Well, I have not given you any names. I have not told you even the state names. I have not given you. I know. In fact, it is coming in the media. All the names are being pronounced. But between you and me, I'm not giving any names. I'm just giving you an incident so that we can, understand this in depth. And probably with your wisdom, you can say, uh, in an election, in an elected government or in a democracy, what is the responsibility of elected government? Probably you can throw some light on that.
Well, it goes further than an elected government or democracy. It goes into one of the most highly respected values that we have in society, and that's one of trust. When we elect anybody, whether it's in an organisation or it's in a community as a local representative, we're putting trust in that individual. We've made that mental assessment of trust. This is a person I can trust. Well, if they're a person you can't trust, you'd never give them your vote, would you? You'd never say, I'm going to vote for this person, but I don't trust them. You just wouldn't vote. Simple as that. That's not a wasted vote. That's just the fact that you don't believe in them. And the point is, it goes to our inner core of our belief system. So let's just make this very simple. You have a close friend, and that close friend has been a close friend for some time. You trust that friend with everything they're doing. And then that friend goes and does something that they don't tell you about, but you find out about it through someone else. And it's pretty bad. It's so bad, it's going to question everything about your friendship. Do I trust this person with anything going forward? I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, but it's bad. Just like this event is pretty bad. Saying that someone's committed suicide, advising everyone that, that's what happens to these famous people. They live on highs and they live on lows. I mean, we see it around the world. I mean, actors in particular are prone to this type of arena because they do have massive highs. But when nothing is going for them, there's no adrenaline rush. You can only imagine the lows that they go to. And some people do go into depression. They start heavily drinking, they go into drugs. And all of this discussion is going on around the fact that someone quite famous, quite young, long future ahead of them, has committed suicide. I didn't know this person, really. I read it in the newspaper, and I saw it on the international media, and I remember it was on BBC News. I mean, this was big news. And now you're finding out that it's not true. This whole person's life has been castigated by a lie, and that lie is now unfolding. So it's hitting everyone, not just Indians, but it would hit me too. I would turn around and say, do I really trust these people who are making decisions? What other decisions have they made recently that I now bring into question? And it's this whole one issue of trust. Sorry, I'm not interrupting you. What you were going to say?
No, I was just saying that this is not the first issue in last 8 months. This is second cover up the state government has done. There was a lynching incident which has been covered up, and even that has gone to the highest court of India, which is Supreme Court, and it is awaiting judgment. So this is second one in very close proximity in terms of just few months. So I think.
But it would. I mean, it would bring into. I mean, even a good friend of yourself, you would bring into question your own judgment. Because we do judge people. Let's face it. But if you've got a really good friend of ours, and you then find out that really good friend has done something that actually is immoral, illegal, whatever, and it brings into question all of the other decisions you've made, not they've made, but you've made. And that obviously the more popular the individual, the more people are going to feel it. And the last thing you want is literally, I mean, this is what social unrest is all about. It's the effect of one thing happening that has a massive impact across the community. I mean, we've seen it in America with Black Lives Matter, that brought to the forefront by what appears to be the innocent killing of an individual by the police. And it brings into question then everything else that these people are doing. So we just need to take a step back here and think about this one value that we have. Values are very personal, but communities have a value, and it's this value called trust. So it's been undermined, and the point is, you can lose it, and if you don't do certain things, you'll never recover it. We all make mistakes. But like anything else, if you make one lie, then another lie to cover up that lie, and then another lie to cover up that lie, and then another lie to cover up the consequences of that lie, all of a sudden, you've lost reality. Your life is just a perception. You're constantly living this lie. So I think we can learn lots of lessons from this.
So on this subject alone, I would like to say that, I feel that the state government is foolish, because in today's environment, all these evidences which are coming out, because you have cremated the body, you have destroyed the evidence, and you have declared the person deceased as a suicidal case. You did not even file a police complaint because it's an accidental death. But, he had a lot of neighbors, and he had a lot of friends. So the incident has been captured by mobile from different angles when the body has been taken out and all that. So all that is coming out. So what on earth the state government was thinking that they can hide it? Because even if you cremate the body thinking that the evidence is destroyed, but it really doesn't, because there is Wi-Fi data. You can, in today's world, even if multiple people enter this guy's house, their mobile will be tracked, their Wi-Fi will be tracked. So if you want to do investigation, you can always catch the criminal. And if you just catch one fish, all the fishes will be caught. It's a matter of time.
Once you catch one fish, you catch the whole school. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there is, unlike 20, 30 years ago, pre-internet, pre-smartphones, everyone being a journalist. We're all journalists. Everyone, if you see a tussle in the street, people don't call the emergency number anymore. They get their mobile phone out and start videoing it and stream it live. And this is the reality that we're working within, you know. And that's not to say, you know, you need to be really careful about what you do. Be who you are. I mean, that's who you need to be. And if that is merit worthy on the internet, you know, then people will do it. You tend to find that the things that go viral on the internet are mostly the bad things. Sometimes we see some good Samaritan stuff that goes viral, you know, but that's just the nature of human beings. I'd like to see more of the good stuff going viral.
No, but one thing
Um,
I like to say that, they try to destroy the evidence by even destroying the CCTV camera footage. But the next building had the CCTV camera. They never thought about it. So how many things you can cover up?
but that's my whole point is you start to tell a lie, a little lie, that grows into a bigger and a bigger and a bigger one, and then actually you lose sight of which one you're working with. If you always tell the truth, you've never told a lie. You know, your brain actually is only if you've forgotten things, you've actually physically forgotten it. You've not decided to put it in the back of your mind and lie about it. You've just forgotten it. So it's a message to us all, really, here. You know, and I'm not saying everyone tells little white lies. They do. You know, it's just a human nature. But this one has got massive repercussions, and the bigger the issue, the worse the consequence, as we all know. It's common sense, really. But again, going back to these elected officials, how deep is the cancer?
Oh, it's very deep. I don't
But
want.
exactly, that's the problem. It's just the question that we all start to ask: how deep is it? And the interesting thing is, that's one local government. Are the other local governments watching? Are they thinking about, oh yes, we've got to be really careful here, or actually saying we're never going to do that? And they've all got policies. They've got fantastic policies of being honest, truthful. Don't lie, seek the truth, because they're in public office. Um, and we trust people in public office, no matter two ways about it. Even in the most corrupt of arenas around the world, we've got a modicum of trust around certain leaderships. But when you're trying to promote trust, because undoubtedly they will have a value statement somewhere within the organization.
Of course. I mean, it takes long time to build a trust, maybe a couple of decades sometimes. But it takes just one incident to destroy the whole thing. So I think it's a learning for all of us. We have to learn from this incident, especially people who are involved. I don't think with what face they will go back to public asking for votes. I think that is where the whole question lies. And public servants should never lose trust of people.
It's a difficult arena. I mean, I would never run for public office anywhere. We've all got skeletons in our cupboards, and that's not the reason I wouldn't run for public office. The reason I wouldn't run for public office is, if I were to do it, it would have to be 100%. I couldn't. I mean, even in the UK, you can be a member of parliament, a local politician, and you can have another job. My view is, if someone's paying for my commitment in this arena, they're paying for me, period. And I take a sabbatical from everything I'm doing. And if that sabbatical is 1 year, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, then it's a sabbatical. But I have to be committed to that one thing. As you've heard me often say, commitment is an on-off switch. It's not a dimmer. So if you're an entrepreneur, for instance, you're living and breathing being an entrepreneur. That doesn't mean to say you have to be committed to one company, okay? But that's not in the public arena. You can have multiple companies, but each of those companies know the level of commitment you can give. So you might say, well, I've got 5 days a week. That means I can support 10 companies. So that's morning, afternoon, etc., etc. If that's the way you do it, that's fine. But in public office, you're a public servant. And a public servant is just that, a public servant. We all can take a massive lesson from this, from a very sad and unhappy event that I'm glad that his family and friends are getting closure, because I bet they didn't believe it initially, but all the evidence was stacked up against them.
Yeah, so the family approached, they never believed in the suicide theory. So they approached the legal system, and based on their effort, we are seeing that the central agency is getting involved. So I think the investigation will now start. It is not, nothing has happened in the last 2 months. So.
Well, the good thing is the justice system is intact. It may have had a bit of a wobble for a couple of months, one hell of a wobble, but the justice system is intact. So that's what our belief can still be in that system. We can still trust in something that's above everybody else, which is great. So there's a real positive to come out of this.
Yes.
And hopefully we can all learn the lessons.
I think there is a huge lesson for people who are in senior positions or having public life. I really thank you for giving us this advice today. I would like to end this discussion by stating Martin Luther King, who said, and I quote, that if there is an injustice in a small area, that shouts out at all the justice in other areas. So I think this is exactly what has happened here in this case.
Yep. And of course, he said that last century, over 40 years ago. In fact, it's probably nearer 60 years ago.
Right.
When are we going to learn the lesson?
I think it's high time we should learn the lesson.
It's high time we should learn the lesson. Before social media teaches us.
Right.
Anyway, thank you for this discussion this morning. It's a sad event, fundamentally, but the right outcome is going to be had.
Yes, Neville, thank you very much, and we'll catch up again tomorrow.
Cheerio, CK. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.